So we will start, let's start lying down tonight. Although don't get too comfy. We're not gonna stay there the whole time. But as you come onto your mat, your legs go out long. If that's really uncomfortable for you, you can bring the soles of your feet together. You can bring your, and let your knees kind of flop open like a book. Or if you want to put the soles of your feet flat on the mat and knees bent, you can do that as well. So really something that's going to allow you to settle in, to drop in. So I put on Facebook earlier today that I was taking requests for songs and poses, and nobody took me up on any of that. So you're leaving me to my own devices with poses. So you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I did put a playlist. It's a lot of 90s love. I don't know. I've been kind of going back in time in music, and music is very, for me, very healing and therapeutic. I'm a word girl, like the lyrics. So that's just a playlist I did. I actually did it for my football players because they like to sing to songs. And so I was like, I wonder if they know these. They knew them all. So yeah, and most of them weren't born then. So, but anyway, that's a playlist. You can listen to it or not. So I digress. So as you lie on your mat, let your shoulders fall away from your ears, soften the space between your eyes, unhinge your jaw. All right, take a full belly breath in, fill up with breath, and then on the exhale, sigh it out. You do that again. Take a full breath in, and then sigh it out through the mouth, like make it so that I can hear it. Right. All right, and then just begin to notice, right? Let your back side of your body get heavy, let it sink into the mat. All right, notice any sensation, any sound, any thoughts. Right, and just settle in. Right. Maybe you had a busy day. Maybe you had the same day that you had yesterday and are going to have tomorrow, right? But whatever it is, can you just come into this moment, right? This moment right now, because you haven't had this moment, and you haven't had the next moment, and the moment after that, right? So can you be here? Right, and if your thinking brain starts to take over, you just anchor back in, right? Right, and that just means you come back to your breath, right? So the brain is kind of like a boat, and the boat floats, and boats float away if they don't have anchors. So this breath, this sensation, this sound is something to tap into to bring your mind back. Right, and you do that in a way that is non-judgmental, that's kind, that's compassionate, and you simply begin again. Much like the yoga poses, right? Each pose is a new opportunity to begin again, to reconnect, to recommit, to be present in your body, in your space. Start to deepen your breath. Right? Begin to make it a little bit more audible. Like, so if you were in the studio, you were breathing for your neighbor, You're breathing for the person in the back row as much as you are for yourself, right? We're in community, and even though we're not in the same space, we're still in community together practicing. So tap into that. Use that to help you move through practice. Start to bring some movement into your body, maybe into your fingers and your toes, your wrists, your ankles. Maybe you stretch your arms overhead. And so I saw this post on Instagram, and someone poses this question to a 4-year-old that, what is yoga? Right? And the 4-year-old explains, okay, so yoga is just you breathe in and out, and then you start doing slow karate. Fairly accurate for a 4-year-old, right? So we're gonna breathe in and out, and we might move slowly and we might move a little bit more quickly, but it's this simple noticing of the breath in and the breath out and the movement. So over the next several breaths, there is no hurry. I want you to make your way to seated in a way that works best for you. Right, yoga is that. It's the breath in and the breath out. It's the movement. It's the tuning in. It's the being in the moment. It's the inner work that comes up, right? So you're seated at the front of the mat, your legs are crossed, your sit bones are grounding down into the mat. I like to take my hands to the outside of my thighs and just kind of rock back and forth, right? So that I can really ground down into my sits bones. The spine is long, the crown of the head's reaching towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. Your arms are gonna reach up overhead. And then on the exhale, you're gonna bring them down to your sides. Inhale, the arms reach up. Exhale, hands float down. Inhale, the arms reach up. This time you're gonna pause with the arms reached up overhead, and on the exhale, that right hand's gonna come down to your side, and you're gonna stretch over to the right. Feel the stretch on the left side body. Maybe you look up at your hand, roll that top shoulder onto your back. Don't hide your heart. Take a breath in, you come back to center, and then on the exhale, that left hand drops down to the side. Inhale, you come back to center. Do that one more time. On the exhale, the right hand drops down, really press down in to the right hand. That left hand reaches over. Beautiful. You take a breath in, you come back, stretch over to the left. Roll that top shoulder onto your back. Right, and as you move and breathe, you notice. Right? Take a breath in, you come back to center, arms reach up overhead, and on the exhale, that left hand comes forward, the right hand comes back, you twist open. So the twist comes from the waist, let your shoulders soften. Right, you pause here for a breath in and a breath out, and you notice. And then you come back to center on the inhale, and the exhale, that right hand comes forward, the left hand comes back. You breathe in, you come back to center, arms reach up overhead, and on the exhale, the hands come to heart center and pause. Let your thumbs connect on your chest. Feel the breath. Feel the life force be in this moment, in this body. Take a breath in and a breath out. You're gonna walk your hands in front of your shins and then walk them forward and just lean over the legs. Right. Try to keep the spine long, the heart reaching through the arms. Right, and it's not so important that you're able to drop all the way down. What's important is that you can keep the spine long. Beautiful. You take a breath in, you come back up, and then you're gonna take that left leg out to the side, and the right foot's gonna snuggle into the right side of the left thigh bone. You're gonna take the arms up and you're gonna reach up overhead, and then on the exhale, the left hand's gonna come down towards your toes and you're gonna lean over the left leg, drape over it, right? And your fingertips may not touch your toes, that's okay, right? Keep the legs straight. Right, maybe you flex that left foot so you feel the stretch on the back side of the left leg and the hamstring, the back side of the quad. Right, beautiful. You take a breath in, you come back up to center. You're gonna take the right hand behind you. You're gonna press down into the right hand and you're gonna lift the left hand up and lift the hips up. Stretch back. A little bitty back bend. You take a breath in, you lower the hips, left leg comes in, the right leg goes out long, that left leg snuggles in. You take a breath in, the arms reach up overhead, and on the exhale, you drape over the right leg, reach for the right toes. Right spine is long. You flex that right foot, and you notice here that, right, the sensation may be different, and that's okay. Right. It's about the noticing. Right, you breathe in, you breathe out, you make slow karate movements. You breathe in, you come back up, you take that left hand behind you, the right arm lifts up, you press down, you lift the hips, you lean back. Take a breath in, and on the exhale, you lower the hips. You're gonna cross the right leg in front of you. You're gonna take a breath in. The arms are gonna reach up overhead. You're gonna plant the hands in front of you and come into tabletop, right? So tabletop is simply that, right? So your shoulders are stacked over your wrist. Your hips are over your knees. The tops of your feet are flat on the mat. Your spine is long. Like I could set my coffee cup on top of your back, right? Crown of the head's reaching towards the front of the room. Belly button's pulling in. It's going to give you stability. You're going to take a breath in. You're going to drop the belly, lift the heart. Monica. And on the exhale, you're going to press down into your hands. You're going to round the spine, come into cat. Inhale, the heart lifts, the belly drops. Exhale, you round the spine. Push your hands down into the mat. Inhale, heart lifts, belly drops. This is called cow pose. And on the exhale, you press down into the hands, round the spine. Come into cat. And so maybe you want a C curve, which is just you're looking out over the right shoulder, and then you come back to center, and then you look out over the left shoulder, right? So part of the movement and the practice is noticing and listening to your body, right? So you do that as you breathe and you move. Okay. Move through 2 more cycles of breath and movement, and then you're gonna come into stillness here, into a neutral spine. And here you are in the neutral spine. Your hands are really pressing down. Spread your fingers so you can see the color of your mat between your fingers. Right, you're gonna take a breath in. You're gonna lift the right leg in the air behind you. You're gonna flex the right foot like you wanna put your footprint on a back wall. You're gonna lift the left hand in front of you, right? So you're stretching in opposite directions, right? Matt Matthews in the house. You're gonna take a breath in, and on the exhale, the knee and the elbow, you're gonna hug it in. You're gonna contract everything in. And on the inhale, you're gonna stretch it out. Exhale, you hug everything in. Inhale, you lengthen. Exhale, you contract. One more. Inhale, you lengthen out. Exhale, you contract in. Inhale, you lengthen. And then on the exhale, the left hand comes down and the right knee comes down. Right, you know you've got two sides, so we have to do it again, right? So you take a breath in and that left leg lifts in the air, flex through the left foot. And when you're ready, that right hand lifts. Right, hug the belly button in. Really reach the crown of the head towards the front of the room. You're gonna take a breath in and you're gonna lengthen, and on the exhale, the right elbow and the left knee hug into the center. You got it. Take a breath in, you lengthen out. Exhale, you hug everything in. Inhale, you lengthen, you stretch. Exhale, you contract. Inhale, you lengthen. Exhale, you contract it in. Inhale, you lengthen. Exhale, you put the right hand down, the left knee comes down. You take the knees wide to the edges of the mat, you sit the hips back and you come into child's pose. Forehead rests on the mat, fingertips are reaching forward. Right, so child's pose is a place to begin again. It's a place to come back to breath, to sound, to the anchors, to take a physical pause when you need to take a break. You could stay in child's pose the whole practice and be practicing yoga. Right, because according to the 4-year-old, it's you breathe in and you breathe out. And then you make some slow movements, right? So it's really that simple. You breathe in and you breathe out and you notice and you move and you listen. You're gonna walk your fingertips forward, you're gonna tuck your toes, lift your hips, and you're gonna come in to downward facing dog. Right? So in downward facing dog, the hands are shoulder width apart, your fingers are spread, the hips are lifting up towards the ceiling. You're in an upside down V. The feet are hip bone distance at the back of the mat. The heels are sinking towards the mat. Right, and if you have a practice, an established practice, maybe you pedal out your feet, maybe you have some sort of routine that you do when you come into this pose. You do that. But before you do that, is that really what you need? You take a full breath in and you glide forward to high plank, right? So high plank is just a push-up, the top of a push-up. You can drop the knees to the mat or you can keep them lifted. If they're lifted, you really press down into the hands. You're gonna lift the thigh bones up towards the ceiling. You're gonna puff up the space between your shoulder blades. You're high on the balls of your feet and you're gazing right past your fingertips. You're gonna take a breath in, and on the exhale, you're gonna push back to downward facing dog. So you should be able to do that without having to move your hands and feet. Don't worry, you'll get the chance again. Take a breath in, you glide forward to high plank, you pause here. You pause, you notice you hug the belly button in. And you breathe. You just breathe in and out. Your next exhale, you push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, you glide forward to high plank. You pause here. Right, and you begin to notice as we move through practice and things get more challenging, two things can happen sometimes. Our breath stops because we hold our breath. We think that's gonna help in some way. Please don't do that. And two, the thoughts come in and they start telling you that it's hard and you're tired and you can't do it and you are not good at yoga or whatever the story is. And it's simply that, it's a story. So you come back, you anchor back in to the breath in and a breath out. You're still in plank, I haven't forgotten about you. Take a breath in, exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, you're gonna look forward, you're gonna walk your feet to your hands. So that may be one step you get up there, it may take you several steps. And so you're standing at the top of the mat, you're gonna halfway lift. The arms are gonna reach out behind you, the heart lifts forward. Exhale, you fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Roll the shoulders onto your back. Crown of the head reaches towards the front of the room. Exhale, you fold. One more. Heart lifts on a breath in. Exhale, you fold. You're going to ground down through your feet and you're going to rise up on an inhale. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, that right hand comes down by your side. Left hand reaches over to the left, to the right. Stretch the left side body. Right. Keep your weight evenly distributed in your feet. You're going to take a breath in. Arms come back overhead, and on the exhale, the left hand comes down. The right hand reaches over to the left. Feel the stretch on the left side, right side body. Ooh, I got my rights and my lefts mixed up tonight. Take a breath in. You come back to center on the inhale. On the exhale, that left hand comes forward. The right hand comes back. The twist still comes from the waist. Hip bones are pointing towards the front of the room. Beautiful. Take a breath in. You come back to center on an inhale. Exhale, the right hand comes forward. The left hand comes back. You twist. Let the shoulders fall away from the ears. Inhale, you come back to center. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, you fold forward. Halfway lift on an inhale. Arms reach out behind you. Exhale, you fold. Halfway lift on a breath in. Exhale, you fold. You plant your hands. You step back to that top of a push-up. You pause there. You take a breath in. Exhale, you lower down. Heart lifts to cobra on an inhale. So it's just the heart that lifts. The hands are light. You use your core. Exhale, you lower, and you make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a full breath in. You look forward. You walk, step, jump your feet to the top of the mat. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. Exhale, you empty out and fold. Halfway lift on a breath in. Exhale, you plant your hands. You step back to plank. You pause here and plank. You take a very full breath in, and on the exhale, you lower down. Heart lifts to cobra on a breath in, and then on the exhale, you make your way back to downward facing dog. Right, so that series of movements is called a vinyasa. I will talk you through it, but if you hear me say vinyasa, that's what that means. You can skip it and go back to downward facing dog. You don't have to do that, right? You have choices, and sometimes you feel like doing it, and sometimes you don't. Your choice, your body, your practice. You just breathe and you move. Take a breath in, look forward, walk, step, or jump your feet to your hands. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you empty out and fold. Inhale, you rise to standing. Exhale, you fold. Halfway lift on a breath in. Exhale, you plant your hands. You step back to plank. You pause in plank. And then on the exhale, you lower down. Heart lifts to cobra on an inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in and you lift the right leg in the air behind you on an inhale. Exhale, the right knee comes forward to the right elbow. So you're in a push-up, but that right knee is up towards the right elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, right knee to left elbow. You cross it over the body. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, you step the right foot in between the hands. You're in a low lunge. So here in the low lunge, the right knee stacked over the right ankle. Right, the hands are framing the right foot. You're up on the ball of the left foot. You can drop the left knee to the mat. That left thigh bone's lifting up towards the ceiling. Again, here, the heart is open. The spine is long, the crown of the head's reaching towards the front of the room. You're gonna take a breath in and you're gonna reach the hands behind you like you did in a halfway lift. So you're now hovering over the right thigh. Beautiful, you take a breath in. Exhale, you plant the hands. You step back to plank. You pause and plank, and on the exhale, you lower down and move through vinyasa. Make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in, and the left leg lifts in the air behind you. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, left knee, right elbow, cross it over the body. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, that left foot steps in between the hands. You're in a low lunge. Pull the belly button into the spine. Right, you're going to use the core to give you support. You're going to take a breath in, and you're going to reach the arms out behind you. You're hovering over the left thigh. Keep bending the left knee towards the front of the room. You want the knee stacked over the ankle. Are you breathing? What are the thoughts in your head? Take a breath in. Exhale, the hands come down to the mat. You move through vinyasa. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in and a breath out. You lift the right leg in the air behind you on an inhale. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, right foot steps in between the hands, low lunge. You take a breath in. Arms reach out behind you. You're hovering over the right thigh. Okay, listen up. You're going to straighten the right leg, lift the left foot behind you. So you're in warrior 3. Right, so you're standing on the right foot. The left leg is lifted behind you in the air. The left foot is flexed. The crown of the head's reaching towards the front of the room. The spine is long. Take a breath in, and on the exhale, the left toes touch down, the arms reach up overhead. You come up to high crescent lunge. So in high crescent lunge, it's like a low lunge, it's just your upper body is lifted. So the right knee stacked over the right ankle, you're on the ball of the left foot. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Keep bending into that right knee. Take a breath in. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You step back to plank, you pause and plank. You take a breath in, exhale, you lower down. Heart lifts to cobra, and you make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, left leg lifts on an inhale. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, left foot lands in between the hands. You're in a low lunge. You take a breath in. The arms reach out behind you. You hover over the left thigh. Right, you're going to straighten the left leg, lift the right leg behind you, flex the foot, come into warrior 3. Really reach the hands back behind you, roll the shoulders onto your back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together like you've got an orange or a pencil in between your shoulder blades. Beautiful. Hug the belly button in, and you breathe. You breathe in and out, slow movements. From the words of a 4-year-old, take a breath in. Exhale, those toes touch down at the back of the mat. Inhale, the arms reach up overhead. You're in a high crescent lunge. Keep bending into the left knee. That right heel likes to kick out to the right side, so can you hug it in towards the center line? Let the shoulders fall away from the ears. Soften that space between your eyes, right? You're crinkling, you know that one, right? Take a breath in. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. You move through vinyasa. Make your way back to downward facing dog. You take a breath in, and that right leg lifts in the air behind you on an inhale. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, you place the right hand in between the hands on the exhale. Inhale, arms reach out behind you. You hover over the thigh. You take a breath in. You straighten the right leg, lift the left, warrior 3. You pause here for a breath in and a breath out. Your next exhale, the left foot touches down at the back of the mat. You reach your arms up overhead. On an inhale, you're in high crescent lunge. Beautiful. Take a breath in. Arms are going to reach out in front of you. You're hovering over that right thigh again, but the arms are reaching out in front of you. Take a breath in. You straighten the right leg, lift the left, warrior three. Beautiful. Take a breath in. Exhale, that left toes touch down at the back of the mat. Inhale, arms reach up, high crescent lunge. From here, the left hand's gonna come forward, the right hand's gonna come back. You're gonna twist open, let the shoulders fall away from your ears. You pause here and you notice what comes up. You notice your anchor, you notice your breath. Take a breath in. Exhale, that left hand comes down, the right hand lifts to the sky, low lunge twist. So the spine gets long on an inhale, and on the exhale, can you roll the heart open, roll the right shoulder onto your back. Beautiful, take a breath in. Exhale, the right hand comes down, you move through vinyasa, make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in and the left leg lifts in the air behind you. You know where we're going, right? On the exhale, that left knee comes to the left elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, you plant the left foot in between the hands, low lunge. Inhale. You reach the arms out behind you. You hover over the left thigh. You take a breath in, and on the exhale, you straighten the left leg, lift the right, come into warrior three. You take a breath in, and on the exhale, those right toes touch down at the back of the mat. Arms reach up overhead, high crescent lunge. You pause here, smooth out the breath. You're gonna take a breath in, and then you're gonna reach the fingertips in front of you. Exhale, press down into the left foot, lift the right leg. Warrior three, with the hands reaching out. They're framing your ears. You take a breath in, and on the exhale, the right toes touch down at the back of the mat. Arms reach up overhead on an inhale. Exhale, right hand comes forward, left hand comes back. You twist open. You gotta take a breath in. Right hand comes down to the mat. Left hand lifts up, low lunge twist. And you take a breath in and a breath out. Left hand comes down to the mat. You step back to plank and you move through vinyasa. Right, it's interesting to me that a 4-year-old can nail yoga, right? So eloquently. You breathe in and you breathe out and you start doing slow karate, which I imagine that this looks like slow karate to a 4-year-old. But think about how much we overcomplicate this practice, and then how much we overcomplicate things in our life that don't need to be complicated, right? That it's really as simple as a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, you kick it back. Exhale, right foot steps in between the hands, low lunge. You take a breath in, arms reach behind you, you hover over the right thigh. You take a breath in, and on the exhale, you straighten the right leg, lift the left, warrior three. You take a breath in, and on the exhale, the left toes touch down at the back of the mat, high crescent lunge. You're gonna lean over the right thigh, arms reach out in front of you. Warrior three, you straighten the right leg, lift the left. You want the belly button lined up over your ankle. Hug the belly button into the spine, take a breath in. Exhale, left toes touch down at the back of the mat, high crescent lunge, arms reach up on an inhale. Exhale, left hand comes forward, right hand comes back. You twist open. Beautiful, take a breath in. Left hand comes down, right hand lifts up, low lunge twist. Keep breathing. You take a breath in. Exhale, that right hand's gonna come down. Listen up, you're gonna spin the left toes towards the left side of the mat. You're gonna walk the right hand around, come up into warrior two. Ooh, I almost said warrior three. That would have been interesting. So in warrior two, the right knee is stacked over the right ankle. The right heel is lined up with the arch of the left foot. Your shoulders fall away from your ears. The outside edge of the left foot is sealed to the back of the mat, and you settle in here and you breathe. You breathe in and you breathe out. Right, it is that simple. You're gonna flip the front palm, you're gonna stretch back, peaceful warrior. And on the exhale, you're gonna cartwheel your hands to the mat, you're gonna step back to plank, you're gonna pause here and plank. You're gonna take a breath in, exhale, you're gonna lower halfway down. Inhale, you're gonna push back up. You can drop the knees. Inhale, you're gonna lower halfway down. Push back up. Exhale, you lower halfway down. Inhale, you push back up. One more. Inhale, you lower halfway down. You push back up. Make your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, the left leg lifts on an inhale. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, you plant the left foot in between the hands. You're in a low lunge. You're gonna take a breath in. Arms reach out behind you. You hover over the left thigh. Exhale, you straighten the left leg, lift the right. Warrior three. Take a breath in, and on the exhale, the right toes touch down at the back of the mat, high crescent lunge. Inhale, you lean forward over the left thigh. Exhale, you straighten the left leg, lift the right, warrior three. And take a breath in, and on the exhale, those right toes touch down at the back of the mat. Arms reach up overhead, high crescent lunge. Right hand comes forward, left hand comes back, you twist open. You pause here, you settle into the breath. Exhale, the right hand comes down, the left hand lifts up, low lunge twist. You take a breath in, left hand comes down. You're gonna spin the right toes down so they're facing the right side of the room. Come up into warrior three, left knee stacked over the left ankle. That left thigh's parallel to the mat. Let the shoulders fall away from your ears. Drop in, settle in. And you notice here what comes up. Are you overcomplicating this pose in your mind, or can you keep it as simple as a breath in and a breath out and slow karate movement? Flip the front palm, stretch it back, peaceful warrior. On the exhale, you're gonna cartwheel your hands to the mat, move through vinyasa. Did you think you were doing push-ups there? They might come back. Take a breath in and a breath out in downward facing dog. The right leg's gonna lift in the air behind you. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, right foot steps in between the hands, low lunge. All right, so here we are in low lunge. So you may be thinking, oh, I know where we're going. Hang on. All right, so you're in a low lunge, that right knee stacked over the right ankle. You're gonna take a breath in. You're gonna lift those arms so that you're hovering over the right thigh. Okay, you've been here before. You're gonna take a breath in, and on the exhale, you're gonna straighten the right leg, lift the left. So you're in warrior three. Pull the belly button into the spine, crown of the head's reaching towards the front of the room. You're gonna take a breath in and a breath out. Got it? Your next inhale, you're gonna lift up and come into tree. So the sole of the left foot can come to the inside of the right calf or the inside of the right thigh, or the toes can touch down on the mat. Arms reach up overhead, hands can be at heart center. Right, and you breathe here. And you wobble, and you come back in, and you shake, and you lose your balance, and you're challenged, and you come back in, and you breathe in, and you breathe out, and you find some childlike joy in tree. Right? Don't overcomplicate it, don't overthink it. Really ground down through all four corners of that right foot. Maybe you unhinge your jaw. Maybe you soften the space between your eyes because you notice that you're focusing. Right? Furrowed brow. Take a breath in and a breath out. The left foot's gonna come down to the mat. Arms are gonna reach up overhead on an inhale. Exhale, you're gonna plant your hands. You're gonna step back to plank. You're gonna pause. You're gonna take a breath in, and on the exhale, you're gonna lower halfway down. Inhale, you lift back up. Exhale, you lower halfway down. Inhale, you push back up. Exhale, you lower halfway down. Inhale, you push back up. Exhale, you lower halfway down. Inhale, you push back up, downward facing dog. Told you I'd sneak those in again. Left leg lifts on an inhale. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, you stretch it back. Exhale, left foot lands in between the hands. You're in a low lunge. Stay high on the ball of that right foot. Keep bending into the left knee. Take a breath in, the arms reach up over or in front of you. You hover over the left thigh. On your exhale, you're gonna straighten the right leg, lift the left. No, straighten the left leg, lift the right. Warrior three. All right, so that the belly button is over the ankle. The spine is long. You're gonna take a breath in and a breath out. Your next inhale, you're gonna lift up into tree. So sole of the right foot comes to the inside of the left calf, the left thigh, or the toes come down to the mat. You wanna keep the right foot off of the knee, please. Right? And then maybe you do something different with your hands. You notice here it's a different side, so maybe you move in and out of it in a different way. But really press down into all four corners of the feet. Hug the left thigh bone up, like hug the muscle onto the bone. Hug the belly button into the spine. Soften your shoulders. Right, and you wobble. Trees are not static. They move, they dance, they breathe. Take a breath in and a breath out. Right, left foot steps to meet the right. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, you fold forward. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, you fold, you plant your hands, you step back to plank, you pause. Exhale, downward facing dog. Maybe you thought I was gonna sneak in those push-ups again. Right. Take a breath in from downward facing dog and a breath out. You're gonna drop your knees wide to the edges of the mat. You're gonna sit the hips back and come into child's pose. All right, so you've been here before today, but you hadn't moved very much. You hadn't breathed a whole lot. Right, that breath to movement. Let your fingertips walk forward. Let your forehead rest on the mat. Let the belly fall in between the thighs and just notice, right? Notice this moment, right? You haven't been here and the next moment is coming and you'll deal with that moment when you get there. But here, be here in this moment, this breath, this body. Take a breath in, walk your fingertips forward. And on the exhale, you're gonna walk your hands off of the mat over to the right. You're gonna sit the left hip back towards the left heel. You're gonna feel the stretch on the left side body. You know, and everybody feels this stretch differently. I feel it in my shoulders because that's where I hold all of my tension. And so you may feel it in a different place. There's no right or wrong. It simply is your body, your experience. The key is to notice and to breathe. And get curious if you start to judge yourself about the noticing. You're gonna walk your fingertips back to center on an inhale, and on the exhale, you're gonna walk them over to the left, sit the right hip bone back towards the right heel. And you breathe in, you breathe out. And you come back to center on an inhale. You press down into the hands, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you take a breath in and you lift the right leg in the air behind you. On an inhale. Exhale, you're gonna step the right foot to your right thumb, and then you're gonna walk your right foot across the mat towards the left side, coming into pigeon. So that right thigh doesn't need to be parallel to the mat. You want the right heel pointing towards the right hip bone. You drop the back knee. So you can stay up on your hands, or you can walk your hands forward. You can come down to a block or whatever you're using as a prop these days, or you can come all the way down, fold all the way forward over your right shin. Forehead can come to the mat. Right, and it's a hip opener. And it might be uncomfortable. Discomfort is okay. Pain is not. So if there's pain in the knee, you need to come into another hip opener, maybe come into this on your back. But discomfort, you can breathe in and breathe out. You can breathe through that. You can, I promise. All right, and you just notice. You notice what you feel. You notice the breath. You notice the thought. Our hips store a lot of emotion, and so it might be tight. We store our stress there. I know I'm sitting at my workspace in a different chair in a different way than I would in my office. So my hips are a little bit crankier. So breathe into that. Take a breath in and a breath out. You're gonna walk your hands back towards your shins. You're gonna lift the upper body. You're gonna tuck the left toes. You're gonna stretch that right leg back into a three-legged down dog so the right leg is lifted. You're gonna bend the knees, stack the hips, roll it open. Right, you can let that right heel get heavy towards the right glute. If you want to flip your dog, you can do that. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you just hang out right here. If you flipped your dog, you come back. If If you're hanging out here, you straighten the right leg, right toes touch down on the mat. You take a breath in and that left leg lifts on an inhale. On the exhale, you step the left foot towards the left thumb and you're gonna walk the left foot across the mat, come into pigeon on the other side so the right knee comes down. Right, and again, we have two different sides and things feel different in different moments. And so you just notice it. It's not a big deal. It's not a narrative. It's not a story. It doesn't mean anything. You just breathe. And you remember, so yoga is just, you breathe in and out. The most profound thing a 4-year-old could say, yoga is just, you breathe in and you breathe out. Because it is that simple. You come back to center, walk your hands back towards your shins. You're gonna tuck the toe, stretch that left leg into a 3-legged down dog. You're gonna bend the knee, stack the hip, roll it open. Again, let that left heel get heavy towards the left glute. If you wanna flip your dog, flip it. If you're trying to figure out how to flip your dog and you don't know, hang out here. Go Google it after class. What is flipping your dog? Okay. If you flipped your dog, you come back. If you're hanging out, you straighten the left leg. Left toes come down to the mat. You're in a downward facing dog. You take a breath in and a breath out. Your next inhale, you're gonna walk your feet through your hands and come down to your back. And this is that moment when you go, I did it. Right? You breathe in, you breathe out. Hug the knees into the chest. You rock side to side. You're gonna take both feet to the edges of the mat. Feet are flat on the mat, and you're going to drop the heels over towards the right side of the knees towards the right side of the room. You can take that right foot and you can place it on top of your left thigh, and you're going to feel a little bit more of a stretch. You breathe in, you breathe out. Next inhale, you come back to center, and on the exhale, you drop the knees over to the left. Left foot can come on top of the right thigh. Doesn't have to, just an option. And take a breath in, the knees come back to center. That left leg is gonna go out long on the mat. You're gonna hug the right knee in. You're gonna take the left hand to the outside of the right knee and cross it over your body. And the right hand can come out to the side. You can look out over the right shoulder. Let the shoulder blades stay down on the mat. Right, and as you wind down and practice slows down, can you continue to breathe out and breathe in and stay in this moment? Not the next one or the next one or the next one, but this one here, where you are. You're gonna take a breath in, you're gonna come back to center. That right knee is going to go out long. The left knee is going to come in. You're going to take the right hand to the outside of the left knee, cross it over your body. Left arm reaches out to the side. And you notice here what's present, what's alive. And get curious about the sensations that you may feel, the thoughts that you may have. Take a breath in and a breath out. You're going to uncross the left leg. You're going to hug both knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Give yourself a hug. And take a breath in. Legs go straight up in the air. Hands can be by your side or they can come underneath your back if you'd like a little support. Feet can flex, they can point. Feel the back side of the body heavy on the mat. Take a breath in, a breath out. You're going to lower the right foot to the mat and then the left. Legs are going to go out long, feet into the high corners of the mat. Let your feet splay open, arms by your side. The palms can be facing up, or if you need a little bit more grounding, the palms can be on the floor. Let the back side of your body get heavy. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. This final pose, Shavasana, there's no more work to do. You just breathe in and you breathe out and you rest. Start to deepen your breath. Maybe you bring some movement into your fingers and your toes. Keeping your eyes closed, you roll gently to your right side, pause. Soak up the breath, soak up the moment. And when you're ready, you help yourself up to seated. Together, take a breath in, the arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center and pause. Let the thumbs rest on the heart space. Press the palms together. Right, we end practice with the word Namaste, which means the light and truth in me sees and honors that in you, and in that we are the same. It binds us in this community, in this practice. Together, take a full breath in and a long breath out. The light and truth in me sees and honors that in each of you. Thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Together we say, Namaste.